Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is the Week 2 Fantasy Football Recap, Swags and Jags, injuries and waivers. Greg, how are we feeling today?
Definitely better than Week 1. Football team-wise, Giants, look better in that second half. Got a good half of football and lost Saquon for potentially some time. But, we'll see what happens with that. Fantasy-wise, too, it was looking real good, man. Undefeated on my leagues, man. Shout out to a lot of people, especially Josh Reynolds, man. I feel like I picked him up in a lot of leagues, added him, those Sunday morning ads and put in. So, looking real good right now.
Yeah, Josh Reynolds. I'm surprised you didn't draft Josh Reynolds, Greg.
That too. You're right.
You have been a Josh Reynolds trooper since the Rams days.
Word.
You just packed your bags and moved to Detroit with him. So, I'm surprised you had to go pick him up. But yeah, no, Josh Reynolds, definitely shout out to him. I'm sure he's a guy we'll touch upon today.
Yes, sir.
Came through for some folks in leagues. If you went ahead and listened to Greg and started him, I mean, he told you Week 1 you should probably play Josh Reynolds. Told you this week Marvin Jones looking a little washed. You should probably play Josh Reynolds.
True. Yes.
So, I mean, hopefully you listen. But if you didn't listen, that's okay too, because you're here now, right? You're either here, you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or you could be listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Play. Whichever way you're doing it, whichever way you're consuming the content, we definitely appreciate it. Just make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff so you can get tapped in with us all season long. But without further ado, Greg, let's jump into those quarterback swags, man. And like you said, for your Giants, it looked rough for about 3 quarters.
I lost all faith, man. I was full tilt mode in that first half.
It looked really rough. I know, actually, you're right. First half, it was rough for about a half, right? Then Daniel Jones comes out, and it was, there was this. They were talking about it on Good Morning Football. Pete Schrager, I guess, had somebody pull his stats. He had 250 passing yards in the second half. He had over 50 yards rushing in the second half. He had multiple passing touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown and no turnovers all in the second half. He was the first player in NFL history to do all of those things in the second half of the game. So
he basically finished QB1 off the half.
Yeah, most definitely finished QB1 off of a half. We're talking about Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. I guess he's earned the moniker again. I mean, it's one half against Arizona, so we'll see. But 26-37 passing, 321 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, added 9 rushes for 59 yards and a rushing touchdown. Greg, you want to hear how much pain I'm experiencing right now? This is like 30.74 points. I'm in a league, 12 teams, half PPR, 1 quarterback, and obviously you know my MO this offseason. It was stack, get the Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers stack. Well, clearly I am looking for new quarterbacks, right? So somebody drops Daniel Jones. I had picked up Brock Purdy. I'm like, all right, Brock Purdy's safe. I'm gonna put him in there. Somebody had dropped Daniel Jones. I picked him up. I made the decision. I'm gonna start Brock Purdy mid-game, right? It's first half. I'm like, Daniel Jones is playing like doo-doo.
Straight doo-doo. Straight doo-doo.
I'm gonna go pick me up somebody from the later games, right? Like Allen Robinson or a Jerome Ford. So I went, go ahead, drop Daniel Jones mid-game. And then this explosion happened, and now I'm sitting here like, damn, I got to try to find a way to get it back.
I know, but I wouldn't go crazy because Thursday is going to be a tough test, and we could see him revert right back to what he's looking like in Dallas. So, you never know.
Especially with potentially no Saquon Barkley there with the injury there. So, but overall, Greg, I know you were plugged into this game. You was watching every minute. You were tilting in the group chat, full tilt.
Full tilt.
So what was your take on this performance here by Danny Dimes?
Yeah, I think the game plan helped them here. They just weren't getting it down the field in the first half. They weren't even trying to get it down the field in the first half. So I like that they were getting deep shots, getting some plays over 20 yards, especially that first drive. Jalen Hyatt, you show why you drafted him. Use him down the field, got him involved. And then again, got to relied on Saquon as you open it up downfield. Then it makes Saquon's job easier to get him receptions as well, and it opens stuff for the legs up. You just can't be that predictable in offense to just throw 5-yard passes to Saquon every play. So this is a good performance from Daniel Jones in the second half.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt was the Giants' leading receiver on just 2 receptions.
So,
how about we get that guy involved more?
Yeah.
We definitely would like to see more of that. But moving on to the quarterback 2 on the day, I gotta hit it for this one, man, because
that's true.
Start of the week action, a Thursday night start of the week in prime time with Kirk Cousins here. Big day, 31 of 44, 364 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did have at least 1 fumble in that game, 1 fumble loss in that game. But Greg, this was good for 28.6 fantasy points. What are your thoughts on the performance here by Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, Kirk was dealing, man. This is like one of the better, if not his best primetime game I've ever seen play, along with that Thanksgiving game. Like, he was really finding his receivers, getting them out, quick throws, just making beautiful plays to Jordan Addison. And he probably could have had 5 if Justin Jefferson did not fumble the ball at the goal line for a touchback. So, I mean, he played a great game. You can't say nothing bad about him in this performance here.
Yeah, I mean, great game in a tough atmosphere, right? You're playing in the link, tough place to play. I mean, they're tough on the fans. If you see some of the videos,
just booing them after like the second drive, it was crazy.
But yeah, I mean, Kirk was down to his 3rd string left tackle in this game. He lost his starting center, who was inactive for this game. So, playing with a banged up offensive line against that defensive line in that building, and to put up the performance that he put up, I think, just speaks volumes to I feel like we've been saying it on this show for so long. We had to put a rule like where Kirk Cousins was not allowed to be my sleeper, because they're just like, he's so underrated by not just the football community, but the fantasy community. Just like, if you just, hey, Minnesota Vikings quarterback number 8, and you just like, do you want to play him in fantasy? People will be like, yeah, I want him in fantasy. He's a top 12 quarterback for sure.
Absolutely. He finishes top 12 every year. He has arguably the best wide receiver with him. I mean, he doesn't get those yards without Kirk. So, it makes sense.
Most definitely. QB3 on the week, Russell Wilson, 18 of 32, 308 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 6 rush attempts for 56 yards, 25.9 points on the day. This is back-to-back weeks where Russell Wilson fills up the stat sheet, finishes as a top 12 quarterback, but his team loses. We don't care about the losing part, but Greg, what are your thoughts on the performance here by Russell Wilson to finish as the QB3 on the week?
Yeah, 2 straight weeks now with at least 2 passing touchdowns, only 1 pick on the year. Definitely, playing much better with Sean Payton. I think that's definitely good to see here. I mean, they get the loss, but yeah, I like that he's improving here with this offense, especially with banged up Jerry Jeudy and stuff like that. Just getting a lot of his receivers involved from Marvin Jones, getting some deep shots down the field and showing like what he can do. One of the best going down the field. So yeah, it's definitely a good redemption arc for Russell Wilson this year so far.
Yeah, definitely a good redemption arc for him. Like you said, he's playing well, getting the ball down the field as well. Marvin Mims looked pretty good. Another guy I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But let's round out these quarterback swags, man. The QB4 in the week, that'd be Jalen Hurts. 5, Joshua Dobbs. 6, Josh Allen. 7, Geno Smith. 8, Jared Goff. 9, Lamar Jackson. 10, Justin Herbert. 11, CJ Stroud. And 12, Desmond Ridder. This was a good overall. I mean, it was a lot of high scores just in general around the league, around fantasy, but a lot of high scores, around quarterbacks as well. I mean, the QB12, Desmond Ridder, came out with 21.3 points. It's pretty good performance here by them. Greg, any performances stuck out to you in a positive manner, whether it's by these top 12 guys or maybe some of the guys that were borderline QB1s that you thought put up a good performance?
Yeah, I mean the two quarterbacks in that Detroit Seattle game, Jared Goff and Geno were just balling out. They were going back and forth against each other, so it's good to see that. And yeah, the rookies, C.J. Stroud and Desmond Ritter. I mean, not Desmond Ritter, but young quarterbacks getting in that top 12. And Sam Howell, man, I think he's looked decent through the first 2 weeks. Eric Bieniemy has got a good game plan for him, and he's definitely playing well for the circumstances.
Yeah, Stroud is one that I didn't bang. I wish I had banged the drum harder for him to be a QB1 this week. It was one of those things where it's like I just kind of had a feeling, just like with how Indy has been playing defense.
Yeah, secondary is trash.
How he looked last week, going up against a tough Baltimore defense, and for him to still throw over 300 yards. Like last week, I think he was just missing the touchdowns there. But this week he got over. I think it was 384, so almost 400 yards passing. Got 2 passing touchdowns in there. He's not going to make any plays with his legs, but he is a pure pocket passer, and he's not afraid to throw the ball down the field. So definitely like Stroud. My quarterback stream of the week, Baker Mayfield, he played well. Jordan Love put out another 3 touchdown performance without Christian Watson.
His touchdown rate is insane right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Anthony Richardson was on his way to a phenomenal game, had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter alone. So there was a lot of guys that it could have been a better day for them potentially. If things had gone a different way, but also on the other side of that, there's some guys that ended up as Jags because some things didn't go their way. One of those guys being, Trevor Lawrence. I think Ian Hartitz put out a clip today. It was like 4 touchdowns, 4 Trevor Lawrence passes that would have been touchdowns if the receiver just gotten another foot down in bounds.
Yeah, they were all in. I'm watching it. I'm like, why does he keep throwing? Not that maybe that was when he was open, but like all of them were just in the back of the end zone. It was crazy. Like it needs to be arena football. Then you get like 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, man. I mean, so that was tough. Justin Fields, that offense has looked atrocious through 2 weeks. They've got two designed runs there for Justin Fields through 2 weeks. Not a good look. Joe Burrow, your start of the week. I mean, the Bengals just don't look right now.
Yeah.
I'm not overly concerned with them, right? I mean, there was a stat that came out today. And if you go back to last year, what Mike Macdonald, the new defensive coordinator, he's been in the job for a year now, but the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, what he's been able to do to Joe Burrow to slow him down, maybe that's part of it. But Joey B just hasn't looked right through 2 weeks. And again, I'm sticking to the narrative that I kind of threw out last week, which was, hey, what if this has to do with the missed time from training camp and things of that nature? But are you concerned about Joe Burrow moving forward, or you think he's gonna get better as he gets more more playing time and more time out there?
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with him. I think he showed us and everyone a lot in the last couple of years that he will get it together. He will get this offense going. I mean, he's got T. Higgins involved, so that was good to see. As my franchise piece in my dynasty team, I'm throwing him out there again. That's all I'm saying. Next week.
You heard it here. If he's out there, Joey B will be in Greg's lineup, so no concerns there. Tua Tagovailoa, I mean, I think that was just the nature of game script. 2 rushing touchdowns, right? Belichick literally playing an umbrella defense.
Yeah, really, like all the safeties deep, man. You will beat us short. That's all we're gonna do. Short and with the yak, man. You're not doing this to us.
No, they was not trying to have that. So obviously he's not going to play Belichick every week. I think there and Mike McDaniel, I'm sure, will come up with some ways to counteract that if teams start doing that to them. But anybody else you want to shout out as a Jag here, Greg? Somebody that was just a guy who didn't show up for the fantasy people this week?
Not. I think we covered them all as far as people that we expected to do well but didn't.
All right, let's move on to the running back position. And we got to talk about those running back swags. And the number 1 running back on the week, Brian Robinson Jr., 18 carries, 87 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 receptions on 42 yards on 3 targets, 28.9 PPR points. Obviously, the 2 touchdowns is huge. It's definitely great. I think Denver is a team that we're probably going to start targeting from a running back perspective. In these next couple weeks until they get it figured out. But I have to say, like, this is like the best I think I've ever seen Brian Robinson look, right? Like, I had him ranked as an RB1. I expected a week, an RB1 finish from him, not the RB1 on the week. But this was the best that he looked in terms of yards after contact, running through defenders, making people miss. What did you think of the performance here by Brian Robinson?
Yeah, man, he's really doing what he has to do here. I think probably showing you he's like one of the best ADP values so far as a running back. And just slowly but surely devaluing Antonio Gibson, especially if he got 3 targets. That's something he's still getting. He got receptions. So even if he's getting that, if he's getting both, then it's definitely bad news for Antonio Gibson. Definitely good news for Brian Robinson. He's playing really well.
The thing that sucks though is then you watch Antonio Gibson, right? And then he gets that one reception that he turns into like a 40 yard play.
Yeah.
Just like, can we get him more of those, please? But no, Brian Robinson definitely balled, and I think if you have him right now, you're just going to continue to play him there, plug him in. It's clear that they want him to be the guy. They for some reason it's not a Ron Rivera thing. It's not like Eric Bieniemy is buying into it too. They want Brian Robinson to be the guy. So until they show us differently, or maybe there's God forbid some kind of injury here, then Antonio Gibson I think is best on your bench. Maybe not a waiver wire because he is one of those guys. He's not a guy that I'm going to cut because he is one of those guys that, God forbid something does happen to Brian Robinson, he slides in as an immediate 3-down running back, I think, in this system.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, he's getting RB1 opportunity right now. I mean, he's about 16 touches last week, another 20 touches this week. That's RB1 right there.
Most definitely. Let's move on to the RB2 on the week. Probably like the waiver wire pickup of the year at the running back position right now through 2 weeks. Kyren Williams. There was a report that surfaced on Sunday morning from Ian Rappaport that, and mind you, the Niners Rams were not playing until like the 4:00 window, but this got dropped at like 11:30, 12 p.m. Eastern time, which was the Rams were going to make Cam Akers a healthy scratch. He was going to be inactive, and they were going to explore trade options, which that one we've heard before. So I'm not really convinced.
You knew Sean McVay's alive.
But Kyren Williams, he was the starter, and boy, did he show out, right? 14 rush attempts, 52 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 10 targets in the past game. like absolutely absurd number, which he turned of those 10 targets into 6 receptions, 48 yards and a touchdown, good for 28 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Kyren Williams?
Yeah, man, he is balling out. And even with him not getting so much yards on the ground, second week in a row with 52 rushing yards, but he's getting in the end zone, and he's involved in the passing game. So yeah, this is awesome to see, especially when that Cam Akers healthy scratch. He's going to be the guy coming in. It's going to get all the opportunity. Yeah, that sounds like a very strong. Yeah, waiver wire pick of the year. I agree with you. Yeah, it's definitely
at the running back position.
At the running back position. Sorry, at the running back position. Yes. Yeah.
Because there's a guy we're going to talk about a little bit later who plays
another Rams player. Yeah, same team.
But yeah, man, Kyren Williams, I think if he's still out there, I think he's still available in some leagues. He has to be.
He's like 62% rostered, I think, when I was checking on Yahoo.
So
that's low enough. He's got to be in the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you went 0 RB like our boy Matt in the League of Extraordinary People did, and then you were able to scoop up a Kyren Williams for basically nothing, off the waiver wire, sitting pretty good right now.
Looking real good right now.
Yeah. Just want to make sure we're not getting any kind of breaking news.
Yeah, 62% rostered on Yahoo.
This is we don't think we have a button for that. But I guess I'll hit this button. Zach Taylor, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, told reporters that it was hard to say whether Joe Burrow would be ready to play Monday night against the Rams due to his aggravated calf injury. The Bengals are still in an evaluation process. That's definitely tough news. Jeff Mueller, who's a doctor of physical therapy, really good injury analysis. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, JM Thrive PT. He says, my best guess is that they will hold him out for 1 to 2 weeks and then reassess. Burrow will likely be pushing to play through. I'd anticipate being without Burrow for week 3. Not great news for a potential bounce back for Ja'Marr Chase. So again, that's just Jeff's opinion. He's not reporting anything, but just based on his experience of being a doctor of physical therapy, that's his thought there. So definitely something to monitor as you make your arrangements for week 3. Another guy who will have to see what their situation looks like, but made sure to give fantasy managers everything he could before his exit. Saquon Barkley finishing as the running back 3 on the week, 17 carries, 63 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, added 7 targets in the pass game, good for 6 receptions, 29 receiving yards, and a touchdown reception there, 27.2 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on the performance by Saquon Barkley, your fantasy namesake in the League of Extraordinary People?
Yeah, man. Classic Saquon performance here, getting involved both the passing game and in the rushing game. 25 opportunities, it looks like. And he was everything for this team, especially in that second half, 2 total touchdowns. I just, this is tough. It's a tough way. So hopefully, he should be good for what's going on next week and Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he's healthy, but I
don't think he's going to play though. I doubt he plays.
He's going to play, but you just hope that he can get there from, hopefully it's not a longer term injury. If not, Matt Breida, I believe, is the guy. That's correct, right?
Yeah, but I'm not going to get him. Or Gary Brightwell. It's not. We've been here before. It's
Gary Brightwell's still there?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
How many football players are named Gary?
I don't think any. Yeah, checking it. Yeah, Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell, and Eric Gray. So basically, no one.
All right. Let's round out these running back swags here on the week. And the running back 4 on the week, DeAndre Swift played on Thursday night. 5, Raheem Mostert. 6, Christian McCaffrey. 7, Greg's running back start of the week, Rachaad White. Running back 8, Bijan Robinson. 9, Zach Moss. 10, my running back start of the week. I'll take it. Tied for 10, Tony Pollard. And tied for 12, Kenneth Walker III and Derrick Henry. Greg, anybody that stuck out to you positively in any shape, form, or fashion as a running back swag this week?
Shout out to Zach Moss. I mentioned that he could be a play. So that was good for that. He balled out. Hopefully, he can keep producing for Indy until that JT situation gets resolved. Rachaad White doing well. Bijan just looking like a stud out there. Hopefully, Raheem Mostert. We know he is talented. If Miami can get a running game thing going there, that would also be great.
I mean, if they're going to see that umbrella defense,
true.
Yeah, keep handing that ball off. Yep. So, yep. Definitely. I mean, obviously, Raheem Mostert, the talent is never the question with Mostert. It's always the injuries, right? As long as he's healthy, he's going to average 5 to 6 yards a carry. It's just a matter of keeping him healthy. Rachaad White definitely came through. The volume was there for the second week in a row. The matchup was good this week against Chicago.
We're attacking Chicago in every way this year, just attacking and everything.
Most definitely. James Cook definitely came through with the volume. But then it's kind of as I was watching this game, my worst nightmare with James Cook really came to fruition. Not my worst nightmare. My second worst nightmare, which was, for me, it was two-pronged. Is he going to see all that volume? And second, what's going to happen when they get down to the goal line? And I think we saw that here. Even though James Cook was killing the Raiders, he averaged 7.2 yards a carry on Sunday. Had 36 receptions, or 36 receiving yards on 4 receptions. Did not get the ball down by the goal line. That was
not even sniffed it, man.
Didn't even sniff it.
Yeah.
like Latavius Murray got a touchdown on Sunday. Damian Harris was getting carries on Sunday. Obviously, Josh Allen is the goal line back for the Bills. So I just have a feeling that James Cook is going to forever be between the 20s running back this season, which is not a terrible thing, right? If he gets the volume, he's going to eat up the yards. Hopefully he scores off some big plays from outside the 20. But, it's screaming RB2 for me this, for the year, which is not a bad thing.
I know. Coming into the year, Buffalo Bills running back, if you told me he's going to be an RB2, I'll take that.
Yeah, most definitely. Also shout out to James Conner, just being consistent, getting it done. It's not good, but he's getting the volume, which is great. Or I mean, it's not great, but he's getting the volume, which is good. Gus Edwards came through as well. If you went there, and then Jahmyr Gibbs, RB17, but I'm sure some, with the David Montgomery injury news, probably gonna take an uptick from there. So let's talk about the not so good stuff, the not so fun stuff, and that is the running back Jags on the week. And Josh Jacobs. Hey Greg, did you know that you and I finished with more rushing yards this weekend than Josh Jacobs did?
I did not know that. Oh man. That's brutal.
He had absolutely 9 carries for -2 yards. So, not good, Bob. Not good.
Yeah. 2 straight weeks now. He's not been Josh Jacobs. So, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, we buy low.
Maybe I feel like I will have to look at the schedule. So he's got Pittsburgh, then the Chargers, and then Green Bay. Could be some opportunity there to do something. I feel like they're going to want to establish the run a little bit more, especially Devontae being banged up. So we'll see what they do.
That Chargers and Green Bay looks real nice.
Yeah.
Sounds real nice. Maybe after Pittsburgh, you send like a low ball offer, try to get Josh Jacobs. I think it might be possible. Breece Hall only had 4 touches.
That's not his fault. This is not his fault. Let's get this straight. Oh my gosh. We've been waiting for this part. Oh man. How after last week, you see this man break out 60, 70-yard runs, and you don't give him the ball in week 2. And you not even in the situation is even better for more of the argument to get him the ball. Like, nah, man, this is not the Jag is Nathaniel Hackett. That's the Jag. That's the Jag of the week, man. It's not Breece Hall. It's crazy.
Oh man. Wow. It's gotta be like the first that's gotta be the first Jets rant that's on this podcast that wasn't done by me. So
it's wild. Like I don't understand it. Everyone in the building saw what he did last week in week 1. Everyone was watching that game. It was one of the most watched games ever in NFL history. So, like, how can you not get him the ball in week 2?
Yeah, definitely. An error there. Breece Hall talked about that. He said, "Why did the running game struggle?" He said, "Well, because I only got 4 touches. That's why it struggled."
Like that's crazy.
And my man tweeted out 4 footballs, 1 for each of the touches that he got. Not looking great. Travis Etienne. I mean, the whole Jags offense essentially just ends up. I mean, they are Jags.
Yeah, except Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk played well.
Except Christian Kirk.
Yeah,
but they're all Jags.
Yeah.
Technically, their mascot, and
True.
because of that,
Yeah, brutal.
Anyway, AJ Dillon did not come through for managers there that thought that they were going to fill him in for Aaron Jones. Alexander Madison did not look good. Obviously, there was like the whole post game that happened, and fans got to be better for sure. I'm going to keep it fantasy though here for this time. Alexander Madison did not play well from a fantasy perspective. I know I was like, hey, put anytime touchdown Alexander Madison. Nope, did not come through. Ty Chandler looks better in that backfield. So
yeah, we have to monitor that backfield for sure.
Definitely got to monitor that one. And then Joshua Kelly, another backup that did not come through.
Not surprised. We've seen what he's done behind Eckler. This is like year 3 for him. And at least Madison showed you something in the last couple of years behind Dalvin Cook. Like Joshua Kelly, I was not confident in this guy.
Yeah, and they played the Titans. They played Miami the week before. So if anything we took away from it is Miami's bad at stopping the run, and Joshua Kelly
did have a good game. So yeah.
So all right. Anything else from a running back Jag perspective that you want to throw out there?
Nah, man. Give Brees all the ball, man.
Give Brees all the ball. Okay. Well, we do have a question. Z Money, I'm assuming that's 40. Asks, can I ask fantasy questions? That's a great question. Seeing how this is a fantasy football podcast, you could definitely ask fantasy football questions. Do I trade Travis Etienne and Pickens for Derrick Henry and Tua? I'm not usually a fan of trading for quarterbacks unless they're like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, like a rushing quarterback that's, because otherwise you really have to make your money off the touchdown rate and the yards there. Except Tua might be the exception. I might be willing to trade for Tua. Now, the other aspect of that is, do I want to get rid of ETN for Derrick Henry? We don't have a whole lot of context here if this is PPR or not. But I still feel like I want. Oh, he's asking, do I trade Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and George Pickens for Derrick Henry and Tua? No, I do not do that deal. I didn't realize you were giving up Trevor Lawrence. I don't know, Greg. Would you do that deal?
Yeah, I don't think so as well. Trevor Lawrence is I think the QB1 in my book. I think he's going to be a borderline QB1 throughout the year. Travis Etienne should be RB1. He had a bad week this week, but I wouldn't panic on him. And yeah, George Pickens, no Deontay Johnson. I think he should get more looks.
Yeah, not doing this deal. And completely different trade. I'm being offered Gibbs for Stevenson.
That one I might do, actually.
I think I would do it too. If it's a PPR,
if it's PPR league,
I'm pulling the trigger. Do it.
Yeah.
I think I'd do it. Yeah.
7 receptions this week for Gibbs. That should stay kind of constant.
I would ask for more from the Gibbs manager, though. I would ask for like a little bit more. Like nothing crazy. Like just maybe like a wide receiver 3. Like if they have like a Marvin Mims or something, or like I would ask for just something like a little bit more just to make it like so you clearly, win that trade. But yeah, Gibbs is an enticing player for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the wide receivers. Wide receiver Swags, and the number one wide receiver on the week, that's got to be Keenan Allen. 8 catches on 10 targets, 111 receiving yards, 2 touchdown receptions, 31.1 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Keenan Allen?
Yeah, man. Keenan Allen, I think he had great value of his ADP this year. And every year, he comes through. When this man is healthy, he's a wide receiver 1, especially with the receptions he's going to get. He's doing what he's got to do for Herbert this year so far, as usually he does. So not surprised here.
Definitely not surprised. Keenan Allen, we talked about this, and he was pretty sure he was my sleeper wide receiver on the year. If he was healthy, he was going to finish as a wide receiver 1. That was not the question.
Yeah.
And you were getting him at a wide receiver 19 price tag. definitely Keenan Allen. Number 2 wide receiver on the day. Now, I'll admit, I don't think we saw this finish coming, Greg. But we said you should play him because he's going to get the volume, and you hope that he overcomes the matchup through the volume. Well, guess what? Puka Nacua, probably the waiver wire pickup of the year.
Yeah, any position.
20 targets. That's not on the season. That was on Sunday in the game. 20 targets, 15 receptions, and 147 receiving yards.
Those are Cooper Kupp numbers right there. That's Cooper Kupp numbers.
30.1 PPR points on the day. The 25 targets are the most by any rookie wide receiver. Sorry, not the 25 targets. The 25 receptions in his first 2 games are the most by any rookie wide receiver in NFL history. He also had, I think there was a bunch of other stats. I for some reason don't have them right in front of me, but Puka Nacua basically is. I know people are like, he's not a good player. He was drafted in the 5th or 6th round and ran 4.7. Sound familiar? Because it sounds like Cooper Kupp minus Cooper.
Like the 3rd round. I think he did get a little undervalued because he was hurt in his college last year. With I think BYU or So he slept on the radar. So that happens when you're hurt in your college year. So I wouldn't put it on that.
Yeah, no, I mean he's definitely balling. Greg, what do you think on the performance here by Puka Nacua?
Yeah, man, he's everywhere. Just all the route trees you can ask for. He catches the ball. He gets yak. He does what he has to do. I'm happy for all the people that picked him up, put the money down for him. No shame in putting the money down, and it's paying through for you. Just off that 1 week, I think that was worth it. That's a win for fantasy managers.
Dude, people were getting roasted. If you look through Twitter, it's like, oh, somebody bid $20 on Puka Nacua. Somebody bid $50 on. I bet you bid. You wish you bid more.
I would have did that too.
I bet you wish you bid more.
Yep.
Look, in the League of Extraordinary People, I was hurting at receiver, Greg. I was hurting. But you know what I did? I went in, put a bid in for Puka Nacua. I won the bid. And guess what? I won my matchup this week. Why? Because Puka Nacua put up 30 PPR points. So I'm happy, right? So this guy, again, if he's not picked up, he's got to be picked up now. Got to be started. Yeah, absolutely. The wide receiver 3 on the week, and this one makes me so angry.
It does.
This one makes me so angry for a couple of reasons. A, because he was in my lineup before he was in my lineup for Get Money until Greg stole him from me. And B, I should have just went with him for my start of the week because I was clearly on him. But besides the point, Mike Evans, 6 catches, 8 targets, 171 receiving yards, 1 touchdown reception, 29.1 PPR points on the day. Greg, what's your thoughts on performance here by Mike Evans?
Mike Evans balling out this year. I mean, 2 straight weeks now with 6 receptions, a touchdown at least, over 8+ targets in both those weeks. He's clearly the wide receiver 1 for this team. He's clearly playing like a wide receiver 1 in fantasy right now. Just another adding to just his Hall of Fame career, man. He's just doing what he has to do for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, man, definitely balling. I don't know, man. The Rams, or not the Rams, but the Bears. Oh, not the Bears. The Bucks and Mike Evans have been going through some contract negotiations. I just picture Fat Joe right now. Today's price is not yesterday's price.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's really carrying this receiving group right now. And they're making the Bucks. Bucks are better than we thought they were.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's round out these wide receiver swags. Wide receiver 4 on the week, that would be T. Higgins at 5. Greg star of the week, Nico Collins.
Yes, sir. Nico.
At 6, we got Tyler Lockett. 7, CeeDee Lamb. 8, Justin Jefferson. 8 or 9, we're gonna give Greg another shout out for this one.
Facts.
Josh Reynolds. 10, Devontae Smith. 11, Deebo Samuel, and 12, Christian Kirk. Greg, any of these performances or any other the wide receiver performances that really stuck out to you in a positive way?
Yeah, and glad to see Deebo back in here. I mean, I think the Brandon Ayuk injury did have a lot to do with that. So good to see him here. Josh Reynolds, of course, and Mike Evans and Nico Collins again, getting me another get money win, man. I'm 2-0, man. I'm hot, man. It was a close one too. I saw those people really mattered.
It's crazy because both matchups have been close ones. Oh man, really hurts. But yeah, no, Tank Dell was somebody I was throwing in lineups in DraftKings lineups because he was so cheap. But the opportunity with I forgot who the wide receiver was that got hurt for the Texans, but escapes my brain right now. But Tank Dell coming through with the opportunity, so he's a guy. 10 targets on Sunday. I think he's somebody that definitely has some intrigue there.
Yep.
Christian Kirk, 14 targets. I mean, the coach Doug Peterson pretty much told us this would happen. He said that essentially Christian Kirk really is comes alive for their offense when they play teams that run a lot of man coverage, which he said the Chiefs were going to run. And so Christian Kirk sees 14 targets. Not surprised. Marvin Mims, I mean, it was only 2 receptions on 2 targets, but man had 113 receiving yards and a touchdown. Just kind of shows you what he can bring, this element that he brings to this offense. And then another guy I'm gonna shout out is Jaden Reed. He's a guy that I've been on, since going back to draft season, dynasty rookie wide receiver rankings and things like that. So he came through with 2 touchdowns, huge on Sunday as well. Greg, anybody else you want to shout out from an honorable mention standpoint, or was that it?
No, that was it. Shout out to Drake London bouncing back from last week, though, for sure.
Are you buying into that? Is that like here to stay, or you need to see one more week?
No, I'm buying into it. As far as I think they can support one pass catcher, I think he would be it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, we'll talk about tight end in a little bit. I don't want to spoil that. Wide receiver Jags though. My wide receiver start of the week, Calvin Ridley, shows up on this list. Jamar Chase, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, he had the injury. AJ Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins. Anybody else, Greg, that really stuck out to you from a Jag perspective? And if not, do any of these guys, are you overly concerned about any of them?
The guys you mentioned, no. I mean, Brandon did get injured, so I'm not too concerned. Juju, I think I'm out on him. I think I was out coming in, so yeah. And then I expected a better game from Zay Flowers, especially coming off of last week. But we talked about how Mark Andrews back in the lineup. We'll see how this offense runs through Mark Andrews first, but another injury popped up with Odell, so we'll see how that also affects now the pass catching.
Yeah, and I'm not concerned about Zay, man. I mean, honestly, did you see that play he made on Sunday?
Yeah, he does make spectacular plays. He still got targeted 5 times, so it's still.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be worried about Zay. Juju's got to be. He's a snip for sure, bro.
Yeah, bro, get him out of here, man.
Get him out of there. Man is like a glorified like H-back by this point. Like 5 receptions for 28 yards. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, get him out of there. Jamar Chase, though, if I could buy low on Jamar Chase, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like, we're talking about a guy that was a top 3 pick in fantasy draft. Some people were making an argument, take him number 1, right? If you could buy low on Jamar Chase right now, I would totally make that happen. Somebody asked me today in a half PPR league, what kind of deals, would I try to make? And they have Brian Robinson, and they don't really need him, right? Because they've got Bijan, Tony Pollard, James Cook.
Yeah.
They've got Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Drake London, Jacoby Myers. If I'm you, I'd probably take Brian Robinson and Drake London and see if I could turn that into Jamar Chase.
I agree. That's perfect, actually, right there. It's perfect.
Right? Like, if I could turn that into Jamar Chase, like, sign me up, right? Because we know that this is going to turn around at some point for sure.
Yep.
The rest of these guys I'm not concerned about. Juju Smith-Schuster 100% has got to be a snip. Like, don't even mess around. Like if he's on your bench right now, I would drop him right now.
Yes.
Pick up an Allen. Go pick up a Calvin Austin. Go pick up a Rashid Shaheed if he's out there. Go pick up Jerome Ford, the backup running back for the Cleveland Browns. Just anybody but Juju Smith-Schuster on the team right now.
Yeah, those are some great names you mentioned. So, yeah, you got to do it.
All right, let's get on to some tight end swags. Number one tight end on the week, Greg's guy forever, TJ Hawkinson. 8 targets, 7 receptions, 66 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, 25.6 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on performance here by TJ Hawkinson?
Yeah, love it here. Got the 8 targets too. Got in the end zone. I mean, he's definitely a matchup nightmare. He looks like a wide receiver sometimes out there. So yeah, he's doing well what he has to do for this team. I expect this all season from him.
Yeah, most definitely just going to keep balling as the number 2 option in this pass offense. Moving on to tight end 2 on the day, Hunter Henry. This is back-to-back weeks of him being in this top 3 here. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 52 receiving yards, and a touchdown reception, 17.2 PPR points on the day. Greg, is this real, or what are we doing with Hunter Henry? Should he be more rostered than he currently is?
Absolutely. He's for ESPN League's 34% rostered. And even if you take both those touchdowns away, he still finishes with at least 10 fantasy points. So you see that he's getting targeted and he's getting a good floor, 50 at least 50 receiving yards in both weeks, and that's a perfect number for a tight end. If you're giving me 50 receiving yards per week, I'll take that.
Yep, I like that as well. Moving on, tight end 3 on the week, my man comes back and just picks up where he left off. Mark Andrews, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 45 receiving yards, and a touchdown, 15.5 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Mark Andrews?
Yeah, man, slide him right into that number 1 option. Lamar Jackson and him just have that chemistry, just up there with every other combo in the NFL. So no surprise here.
None whatsoever. And rounding out these top 12 these tight end swags, we've got Greg's tight end start of the week, Darren Waller.
Go Waller.
Definitely bounced back for fantasy managers and most importantly, my fantasy team in the League of Extraordinary People because I was really getting hurt. Travis Kelce coming in at 5, Evan Ingram coming in at 6, Zach Ertz coming in at 7, Sam Laporta, my tight end start of the week, coming in at 8. I'm not going to hit the button. 8 at tight end is okay. It's doable. It's, it is what it is. Kylan Granson coming in at 9, Logan Thomas 10, and then Jake Ferguson tying with Cade Otton for the tight end 12 on the week. Greg, any of these tight end swag performances stuck out to you? I did throw 2 honorable mentions in here. Tyler Conklin had 5 for 6 for 50 yards. That's a 10-point day. And then Dalton Kincaid had 6 targets for 5 receptions, which turned into 43 receiving yards. I threw that down here because A, he's a rookie, and B, this game was non-competitive for at least a quarter and a half. So it's possible that in more competitive game scripts, more against better teams, where closer matchups, Dalton Kincaid is involved a lot more. But Greg, your thoughts on the tight end performances this week?
Yeah, do love those names you mentioned as far as the honorable mentions. But other than that, yeah, I think everyone here is doing what they have to do. Zach Ertz, though, very impressed with him over the first 2 weeks. Josh Dobbs definitely has an affinity for him, especially in the target game. 18 targets over the first 2 weeks, so love it.
Yeah, the targets have been there. The targets were there for Zach Ertz last week. The production didn't follow this week. The production and the targets, the production followed the targets rather. And then with Zach Ertz, obviously there is the injury concern, but hey, we're just gonna keep playing him until that happens, and that when that happens, we're gonna go pick up Trey McBride and we're gonna play him.
Yep.
But now it's time for our favorite time of the week and our touchdown or not tight end of the week. And this one, unlike every other touchdown or not tight end of performance of the week, this one actually helped you because he was probably in your lineup. I know he was. I know he was in mine, and that is Jake Ferguson. My man had 4 targets for 3 catches and 11 yards. One of those was a touchdown there. So that was good enough for 10.1 PPR points on the day. And a tight end 12 finish, literally finished as a tight end 1 because of that touchdown. So that helps. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Jake Ferguson?
Yeah, definitely was high on him coming into the year. Glad he got this touchdown. I'm gonna still, have confidence in him that he'll continue to grow with this offense.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Jake Ferguson manager. I'm looking for an upgrade, bro.
Oh well, yeah. If you can do it,
I'm about to go pick up Zach Ertz because.
Yeah, I'm about to go pick up Zach Ertz. I have Dalton Schultz, and I mean he did all right, but like I can go get a Zach Ertz.
Right, like I mean, give me the targets.
Yeah, give me the targets. Yeah, full PPR league. Yeah, give me the targets.
All right, let's move on to the tight end Jags, and it starts with one man. Usually, like I say, I don't have to remove his name from the list because he's literally been here since last year. It's Kyle Pitts. I'm gonna start just taking the unders on his prop because I really thought about it. I was like, I think it was like 34.5. I was like, oh, I should really just take this under, But then Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, he could literally wipe that out on 1 reception.
True. We had 44 last week, so it's a win-win for you. You win money on it, or you win in fantasy, kind of type thing.
Or he just gets that 1 catch, does nothing else.
True, that's true.
Yeah, I really wish I had more. I really wish I had some actionable information here, other than just cut bait. It's just time, right? In redraft league, just cut bait. Go get a Zach Ertz. Go get a Sam Laporta. I think, and it pains me to say, right? Like I'm the Kyle Pitts apologist. Like you would think that he is my child at this point by how much I've defended him, but I literally cannot. I cannot put you guys through this pain and this agony. And maybe you guys out there that are listening have not been doing that. Maybe it's just me that's going through the pain and agony. I have no idea. Actually, I don't have any redraft shares of Kyle Pitts because I couldn't get them. So, actually, I thought I couldn't get them. I was trying to get target earlier, guys. But besides the point, whatever, right? I think we got to be out. Greg's not gonna. I mean, I know Greg's not gonna argue that point. So.
Oh no! I've been out since mid last year. Yeah, mid. So we can just move on to the next.
All right, Luke Musgrave, Dalton Schultz also end up on this list, but 2 guys that have actually, Luke Musgrave has produced this year. You would think you would get better output from him considering, no Christian Watson, no Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs was stuck on AJ Terrell. But yeah, I think we're willing to throw this one out. We saw he was productive the first week. I think we'll get more more productive weeks out of him. Dalton Schultz, the targets came this week, but production was modest at best. I think you could make do with him, but you could definitely get an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's move on to news and injuries before hitting the waivers. So Darnell Mooney, he suffered what the Bears are calling a minor knee injury. Anthony Richardson, he's questionable for week 3 with a concussion after self-reporting symptoms after his second touchdown run, and now is in a concussion protocol. Jalen Waddle, he left Sunday night's game with a concussion, and he is in concussion protocol, questionable for week 3. Saquon Barkley, left Sunday's game with a high ankle, what looked like a high ankle sprain. We're still waiting for the results from the MRI, but it's highly unlikely that he will be available for Thursday night's game against the San Francisco 49ers. Logan Thomas, the tight end for the Washington Commanders, he left Sunday's game with a nasty hit to the head on a touchdown catch, which entered him into concussion protocol. David Montgomery, he left Sunday's game with what he's now calling, him and the Lions are calling, a thigh bruise. So he'll miss at least a couple weeks there. So wheels up on Jahmyr Gibbs, it seems. Also, don't sleep on Craig Reynolds. Unfortunately, I have to say that.
No, sometimes I was like, what is Craig Reynolds doing on the field? Like, I know he was, doing what he had to do last year, towards the end of last year, but nah, man. You drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, you used this man. But now, yeah, Dave Montgomery is out, so that makes sense.
Just hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Swift wasn't the problem.
Maybe. He looked good on Thursday. He looked really good on Thursday. Yeah.
Joe Burrow tweaked his calf. Obviously, the training camp injury that he suffered, and we just talked about that earlier in the show, how he's highly questionable for Monday night, and that game is on Monday night. Who do they play?
I don't know, but now that you told me that, I'm gonna have to rethink what I'm gonna have to say about starting Joe. If it's up to Monday night,
it's up to Monday night. They play the Rams.
Play the Rams. It could be a potential shootout.
But you're not picking up Jake Browning and saying, I'm gonna ride Joe Burrow. I think you're if at best you pick up Matt Stafford if available.
Yeah. And then starting him. Yeah.
And you start him if Joey B is not ready to go. But other than that, you probably gonna have to make some arrangements. You gotta maybe take as close as to Monday as you can, which would be like Sunday at 4:25.
Yeah.
But I think you have to just assume you're not going to have him. Devontae Adams, he's questionable for week 3 with a concussion. Brandon Ayuk, he left Sunday's game with what the Niners are calling a shoulder injury. He's questionable for Thursday Night Football. And then Odell Beckham Jr., he's expected to be okay with what he left Sunday's game with an ankle injury, was quickly ruled out, but the Ravens seem to believe that he'll be okay, and it's not something that he'll have to miss significant time for and should be able to manage. Now, with all of that being said, Greg, what quarterbacks are you looking to pick up off waivers this week ahead of week 3?
This week, I think I'm looking first to Russell Wilson. It's 51% rostered. After that, I have CJ Stroud, who's 9% rostered. Baker Mayfield at 14%, and Matthew Stafford at 35% rostered. I think these guys, especially with Matthew Stafford, especially a Joe Burrow manager, if you're trying to make that stretch all the way to Monday night, just pick up Matthew Stafford and see if it works. I mean, both him, Tutu Atwell, Puka, they're both getting targeted out there, and they're both producing. So Matthew Stafford with a good redemption arc in this season.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, man, the Stroud one is really, really interesting. He is really catching my eye here. Looks good, looks sharp. I know, rookie quarterbacks, typically, if they don't have the rushing component, I don't really go for them. I'm not going after them. But he's got so much volume.
Yeah, they play Jacksonville next week too, so it's not a bad matchup either. So
yeah, looking good. Then what about running back position? What do we got there, Greg?
Running back position, Zach Moss is at the 53% mark, but I'm he's right at the cusp. But I think that rostership should be up more, especially with those running backs in week 1 not looking very good. Zach Moss produced very well, and this week being a top 12 RB, you got to go and pick him up. After that, especially if you didn't get a chance to get Gus Edwards, I think Justice Hill, 41% rostered, he's still out there. Tajay Spears, 17% rostered, is also getting involved still in this offense. So I would keep him as far as just keeping depth on your team. Put him in there, and then I'm gonna keep putting Tank Bigsby out there, especially with the he didn't really get involved this week, but I think he's still a guy, especially in deeper leagues. You got to have in your back pocket just in case something happens to ETN, and if they decide they want to give him more touches off ETN's performance.
Yeah, see, Tanks Bigsby is like I dropped him in a couple leagues because I was trying to get Jerome Ford just in case like we get a Monday night injury and Jerome Ford's like the number one waiver wire pickup, but then you don't have to spend that money because he's on your roster.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that my league mates don't notice.
It's fall under the radar. Yeah.
Yeah, that Tank Bigsby. Oh, John dropped Tank Bigsby, But I'm gonna I will come back and bid $1. I will come back and I will get him, and he'll be back on my roster come Sunday if nothing happens, but or come Wednesday if nothing happens. So we'll see. What about wide receiver, Greg? Puka Nacua?
Puka Nacua is rostered. I mean, they went from the people went out there and got him. I'm pretty sure he's over 60%. I'm gonna double check that right now, but yeah, he's at 77%. So the people did a good job. Shout out to the people out there going to get him. He needs to be at 90% though. If for those leagues
100.
100, yeah, 100, 90, 95 up, 100, yeah. So go get him. But other than that, the guys that are at low rostership, Josh Reynolds, 12% rostered. You see what he's doing out there. Jared Goff's having a really good year. He can't throw all his 250 yards per game too. I'm on St. Brown, so Josh Reynolds is going to keep getting involved. Robert Woods, 9% rostered. Another big target day for him, especially being tied to CJ Stroud. I think there's going to be targets in this offense. Tutu Atwell as well, 15% rostered. If you those people that didn't get a touch of Puka, you could always go for Tutu Atwell. Still getting used in this offense as well. And then the deeper league guys, Tank Dell, Marvin Mims, and Jaden Reed. Those three guys, those are the three rookies. 5% rostered, 23% rostered, and 10% respectively. I think those three guys are going to be available in a lot of leagues. And if you need sneaky play, some value there for some big play activity, those three guys are going to give it to you.
Agreed. I think Tank Dell probably has, of those three guys, probably has the most upside at this point, just because his role is pretty well defined, right? Like Jaden Reed, we don't know what his role will look like when a Christian Watson and Aaron Jones are reintegrated back into the offense. Marvin Mims, I think, has a pretty good I think we know what his role could be, but they seem to rotate receivers a lot. Jerry Jeudy is still working his way back from injury. I do think Mims is a guy that will rise as the season gets on, just because I think he adds an element to this offense that they really don't have at this point in time. But Tank Dell, like from a PPR perspective, I mean, he had 10 targets, 7 catches. CJ Stroud, apparently him and Tank Dell became friends in the offseason, and he told the Texans, please draft this guy, and they did. So there is a relationship there. So I definitely like Tank Dell a lot. Greg, what about tight end position? What are we doing?
Tight end position, Zach Ertz, my number one guy, 10% rostered. Again, getting those targets that I mentioned, 18 targets in the first 2 weeks. For a tight end, that's amazing right there. So 9 targets a game. After that, Cade Otton, he's 2% rostered. I think, just with the offense being better than we thought they were going to be with Baker Mayfield, I think he's going to be an option to continue to be involved. Had 6 targets this week, 6 for 41. So he caught the ball and was able to get that. If you had a touchdown for that day, that's a tight end one day. So that just shows, he can maybe provide some good floor and a good matchup next week against Philly. And the last 2 guys for deeper leagues, Jake Ferguson, 38% rostered. And, Mike Gesicki was still involved in that game, a little more involved in the first game. Hunter Henry seems to be the guy that they're going to go with, but they do play a lot of 2 tight end sets. So he's has room for him to be involved. 6 targeted 6 times, 5 receptions for 33 yards yesterday.
Yeah, especially if you just get Juju Smith-Schuster off the field, right?
Yeah.
And just replace him with a better player, like, I don't know, Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. All right, Greg. Thank you for all those waiver pickups. We have a question from Shaka. My team is trash. I drafted Garrett Wilson in the first round. Jets fan, assuming Rodgers would play more than 4 snaps. Also guilty of that. And then went 0 RB. Never guilty of that. Drafted Akers and Dobbins. Somehow 2-0, but not feeling good. All right. My mic muted. Made it really anticlimactic. But you are 2-0. That is a great place to be. Why?
Absolutely.
It is better than 0-2. You can fix it. Work running back really heavy, right? If Kyron Williams is not available,
go get him.
Gus Edwards is not available, then you got to start looking for guys that are in positions that they're like a snap away from getting in playing time, right? The Chuba Hubbards, the Tank Bigsbys.
Go get Zach Moss.
Go get Zach Moss, right? Those guys that they don't look sexy. They're not the sexy names, but they're gonna get volume, and their volume and their production comes cheap, right? Matt Breida, not a sexy name by any means. Probably don't want to play him against the Niners. You're gonna hold your nose when you do it. But those are the types of guys you need to go at this point. Greg, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You gotta at this point hit that waiver wire. Don't be afraid to spend money if it's a fat budget that you're in. And these guys that we mentioned here in the waiver wire section for running backs have potential for sure. I mean, at this point, 2-0, you have some leeway to take a hit maybe for a week or two to figure it out.
Most definitely. Greg, you said that you have won all your matchups this week. Is that true?
Yeah, man. It was definitely a good week. I'm excited.
So nothing's coming down to Monday night for you with 2 games? Nothing. You don't need anything?
No, I mean Dynasty. I still got more. I mean, for high score of the week, we don't get no reward for high score of the week, but I'm just playing for that high score. See if I can get that. TJ Watt tonight. A couple other guys. We're chilling. We're good.
Yeah, I got my Dynasty matchup. It's going to be close. I think. That's why we play this. So,
I would like to see Pickens do well. So just for my confidence, going into next week for the League of Short Name people, because I'm going to need some help with potentially Waddle and Saquon being out.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good when you don't need anything, but you still want to see how your players do, because it's like, let's get those reps in. Get the reps in. You're always on a tryout, right? Everybody on my fantasy roster, they already know your roster spot's not guaranteed.
Nope.
Whether we win or not, your performance is being evaluated. So
always got to sharpen the iron. Sharpen it.
Aggregation of marginal gains, y'all. Anyway, have a good one. If you are playing on Monday night, you need something on Monday night, I really, really, really hope that you get it, unless you're going up against me in some other league, because then I really hope you don't. Other than that, y'all, have a good one. We will see y'all on Wednesday. Break down some Thursday Night Football, give out streams of the week, break down all the 1 p.m. games. But until then, y'all, have a good one. We're out of here. Peace.
Yeah.